At this point, the Suburban has eaten more belts than it even has road miles. We technically finished the build, dynoed it, and even made it to Good Guys, Delaware, but not under its own power. The same goes for Ellis Fest East. The belt issues just wouldn't quit. Here's the short story of our nightmare. We took the original blower pulley and idler, which were super worn, and sent them out to Grip Tech, where they made us new custom ones with extra ribbing and their special coating, which you'd think will take care of all of our belt issues, and it didn't. This belt still wasn't having it. But that's not Grip Tech's fault. We'll show you what we found. Before we go over to the bench and really explain how we figured this out, I want to explain how I aligned the blower to the motor initially. Once I bolted up these brackets and had the blower still rotating, because you have these 3 studs where you can adjust its alignment, I took one of these digital angle finders, zeroed it to that front plate, and then put it on the snout of the blower without the blower pulley and just moved it until everything's zeroed out. I thought that would have been an accurate way to do it, but time showed it wasn't. Now you might be wondering, why do we have 2 Gates belt alignment tools? That's because the first one we got was actually defective. So we've been chasing our tail for months on a tool that was giving us bad data. The main thing is the magnets that are supposed to hold it to the pulleys are actually not fully seated and are actually seated at a little bit of an angle. The problem with that is it doesn't really sit into the ribs of the pulley, causing it to wiggle and kind of make up your own alignment. So Amanda over at Grip Tech was super helpful and pointed out that's not how they're supposed to work. So she actually sent over one of their loaner tools and we got much different results from this tool. We'll show you on camera a little bit of how that looks, but with this tool and the offset, it worked out pretty perfect where the blower didn't really look misaligned. But once we had a properly working tool, the misalignment was very apparent. After months of frustration in keeping Gates' belt department in business, we finally have something to check. Let's see if we could fix it today. So fortunately or unfortunately, we'll find out soon, the blower only has a couple of adjustment points. The main one being back here at the throttle body, where these 3 studs are going through a slotted hole on this elbow, where the blower can rotate up or down and kind of at a slight angle because of that throttle body angle. There's also a bracket up front here, and that's really just to support the snout of the blower so it stays nice and rigid as you're driving. So we're gonna start by loosening this up and then loosening up the studs and just seeing how much we can move this thing and hopefully get that alignment dialed in. Well, now we got everything pulled apart, so the blower is nice and loose. You can get a little bit of wiggle in it, and that's exactly what we needed. It's a little bit difficult to get that back bolt or stud that goes to the throttle body all the way back there, and we just had to pop off this valve and then use a little bit of a thinner wrench, and fortunately we were able to get to it without pulling off too many parts. Then up front here, you probably saw me loosen these bolts up, but I found it easier just to remove this whole bracket, just because the bolts didn't really want to slide too much. It has a pretty tight fit, so this made it a little bit easier. Now that the blower is able to move though, we can find where that alignment is a little bit better, snug everything up, and just triple check before we button everything for a test drive. So now we have the blower pretty much where we want it to be, at least where we think it wants to be. And we snugged it up, not fully tightened, but enough where it shouldn't be moving anymore. And we threw the laser alignment tool back on the supercharger and also down on the crankshaft, since that's going to be the longest distance for the belt. And if we look at that, it checks out pretty good now. And we'll just do a quick check on the idler as well. And if that looks good, we'll keep moving forward. And now that we have everything tightened up, we just want to do one absolute final check to make sure nothing moved. So I'll throw the belt alignment tool on again. I'd say the supercharger to idler is looking pretty dang good. I'll throw this guy back onto the crank. Fortunately, the crank is steel, so we could take advantage of these magnets. I'd say that looks pretty good as well. At least a big improvement to what we had before. But that being said, let's throw a belt on it and hope it stays on. Now we just see what it does. All right, say your prayers, because let's try cranking it. I guess it's been sitting a little too long. So first things first, we're just gonna take it around the parking lot a little bit, do some real low speed driving, which normally wasn't the problem, so I wouldn't expect that to happen now. Really, it was once we got around to like 40-50% throttle, if not more, that the belt would start to get a little hairy. But one good news is it's not squeaking as much as it used to, so that's definitely a bonus. Shit, I forgot. I should probably do something about that first. Well, now that our tools are secured in the trunk, we can get some street miles. Well, I do love these Timberins because it really helped with the stance and definitely is going to help us with towing. I could guarantee you that would have been a problem for loose sockets all over the place, so I'm glad we caught that. Not really getting into boost yet, but just bringing the RPMs up to around like 2,000. We could try a little bit of a pull right here. Good so far. That was pretty much wide open. I didn't hear or smell anything. Last time the belt came off, dude, that was a horrific smell. Just burning rubber. Belt's still on there. That's pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. We got a wide open pull on it. I didn't go too crazy because, you know, we're still on some back roads with people around. But that's a good first test. I'd say let's get some more miles on it and time will tell if this is our true fix. But I'm looking forward to getting some road trips under the belt with Suburban because, you know, that's the whole purpose of this build. Well, that about sums things up for today. I'd call it a win because we did a pull and the belt stayed on. Hopefully this means I don't need to have 20 belts in inventory anymore just to keep the truck going down the road. But if you want to see more, make sure you like, subscribe, hit up our Discord, and we'll keep you updated.